Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this hump day. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be part of my conversation with author Anthony Trucks, discussing his new book, Identity Shift. Enjoy today's program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In Mississippi news, State Health Officer reports getting threatening phone calls over conspiracy theories. Mississippi State Health Officer has repeatedly been receiving threatening phone calls regarding conspiracy theories circulating on social media. Dr. Thomas Dobbs released a series of tweets on Tuesday stating he's received some threatening phone calls with false information regarding him and his family. I have received some threatening phone calls and want to clarify any confusion there may be with some conspiracy theories going around, Dobbs wrote. Dobbs said the alleged rumors include that his son works for Dr. Anthony Fauci and his daughter-in-law has financial connections with the World Bank Group. He said some of these threatening callers have accused him of promoting the COVID-19 vaccination so his son gets World Bank-funded kickbacks. Imaginative, no doubt, but all lies, Dobbs tweeted. My son is an MD, an MPH student in the D.C. area. His wife is an MBA student and worked at the WBG before grad school. They are completing their studies through their own personal finances. There are no WBG funds involved. I am very proud of them both. Dobbs wants to assure the public that he gets no funds for promoting the vaccine. Throughout the pandemic, Dobbs has received unwavering support from many of the state's health and government leaders. In national news, U.S. outbreaks force early reversals on in-person learning. A few weeks into the new school year, growing numbers of U.S. districts have halted in-person learning or switched to hybrid models because of rapidly mounting coronavirus infections. More than 80 school districts or charter networks have closed or delayed in-person classes for at least one entire school in more than a dozen states. Others have sent home whole grade levels or asked half their students to stay home on hybrid schedules. The setbacks in mostly small rural districts that were among the first to return dampened hopes for a sustained, widespread return to classrooms after 2 years of schooling disrupted now by the pandemic. In Georgia, where in-person classes are on hold in more than 20 districts that started the school year without mask requirements, some superintendents say the virus appeared to be spreading in schools before they sent students home. More than 1 of every 100 school-aged children has tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 2 weeks in Georgia, according to the state health data published last week. Children ages 5 to 17 are currently more likely to test positive for COVID-19 than adults. Around the country, some schools are starting the year later than planned. One district in western Oregon pushed back the start of classes by a week after several employees were exposed to a positive teacher during training. In more national news, Biden keeps the Kabul August 31st deadline despite criticism. U.S. President Joe Biden declared on Tuesday he is sticking to his August 31st deadline for completing a risky airlift of Americans, endangered Afghans, and others seeking to escape Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. The decision defies allied leaders who wanted to give the evacuation more time and opens Biden to criticism that he caved to Taliban deadline demands. Every day we're on the ground is another day that we know ISIS-K is seeking to target the airport and attack both us and allied forces as well as innocent civilians, Biden said at the White House, referring to the Islamic State group's Afghanistan affiliate, which is known for staging suicide attacks on civilians. He said the Taliban are cooperating and security is holding despite a number of violent incidents. But it's a tenuous situation, he said, adding, we run a serious risk of it breaking down as time goes on. In more national news, House passes $3.5 trillion Biden blueprint after deal with moderates. Striking a deal with moderates, House Democratic leaders muscled President Joe Biden's multi-trillion-dollar budget blueprint over a key hurdle Tuesday, ending a risky standoff and putting the party's domestic infrastructure agenda back on track. The 220 to 212 vote was a first move toward drafting Biden's $3.5 trillion rebuilding plan this fall, and the narrow outcome in the face of unanimous Republican opposition. And finally, in entertainment news, drummer Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones' backbone, dies at age 80. Charlie Watts, the self-effacing and unshakable Rolling Stones drummer who helped anchor one of rock's greatest rhythm sections and used his day job to support his enduring love of jazz, has died, according to his publicist. It was said on Tuesday that Watts passed away peacefully in a London hospital, surrounded by his family. Charlie was a cherished husband, father, and grandfather, and also as a member of the Rolling Stones, one of the greatest drummers of his generation, his publicist said in a statement. Watts had announced he would not tour with the Rolling Stones this year because of an undefined health issue. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Honesty creates harmony. When you are honest in your relationships, interactions will be open with nothing to hide. First, like anything else, you must be honest with yourself. Ask yourself the following questions. Number 1, do you think before you speak? Number 2, do you say what you mean and mean what you say? Always following through with actions. Number 3, do you communicate with others in an open and honest way, being sure they hear and understand you? And number 4, do you look at both sides of any situation? Honesty is important because it is your internal regulator to keep you balanced. When you are out of balance, you see your world off balance as well. Balance without harmony, without honesty, you cannot have a healthy relationship with anyone. Today, choose to be honest with yourself and others, and enjoy the day.
Anthony Trucks is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Author Anthony Trucks joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about his new book, Identity Shift, and what it's been like for him to share his life lessons with the world. Here's a bit of our conversation. Anthony, you've had so many successes in your life now. What has it been like for you, though, now through this book, to be able to not only show a part of your process, but also show other people what they can do in their own lives?
Oh, man, it's been a blast. It's one of those things where whenever you live life and you kind of experience things, it's useful not only to be able to solve it yourself, but actually feels good to be able to solve it for other people. So to be able to go through the journey I went through and then be able to extract some cool things that make sense and then be able to press into the hearts of other people has been huge.
Have you always known, Anthony, that your own personal success wasn't enough? And I guess what I mean by that question is that you don't seem to be a person who's content just making it yourself. You seem to be someone who wants to see other people succeed too. Is that just a part of who you are as an individual?
Yeah, but to be honest, so it hasn't always. I think that's kind of the journey of life is when you're young, you're selfish. It's like, I got to do for me and be for me. And then you start realizing, man, life is better lived when you get to experience the joy by creating something cool for others. So for me, like I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a coach. I do a lot of different things for the people, and I find a great deal of joy within that. So yeah, I most definitely go the route of saying it's a blast to be able to have that, because I also know that as human beings, relationships are a key part for all of us.
And I think, too, the thing that you reference throughout the book, Anthony, is the importance of the work. That's the part where they kind of fall off. What has that been like for you to share with people, that if this is truly what you say you want, you have to be prepared to do the things necessary to get it?
Well, it's the age-old thing that for some reason it's like the cliche that never becomes reality. But I mean, it's honestly, I think we live societally in this realm of, I call it an epidemic of shelf-esteem. We all have this information and it sits on the shelf in our house or the shelf of our minds or the shelf of our email inbox. Put it into action and be quite honest, like I don't believe that I am special. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News. Prepare you guys on tomorrow's more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.